What do you mean if I don't do it? Oh, seriously? You mean I have to? Oh, why do I have to do it at the beginning? Oh, right, fine, give it to me then. Oh. Hello. Here's a book. It's good. It'll teach you to write. Stop you sending so many terrible drafts down here. Okay? Good. There, I did it. Hello. How are you? It's been some time, hasn't it? It's been some time. And because it's been some time, I'm back. I am back. Yeah, they hogged it. They all hogged it and wouldn't give me any space. I'm not happy about that. Anyway, I have for you something that they say is a comedy. Well, the Milwaukee Family Players say it's a comedy. I don't know about that. I think it's like some gigantic red flags around dating, but that's just me. What would I know? Happily married for, oh, goodness knows how many tens of thousands of millennia? Oh, what would I know about good relationships? Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we are talking about the play Much Ado About Nothing, which rather tells you a lot in the title, that there's a lot of stuff that goes on here that's really about nothing. Nothing at all. So anyway, let's get started. We get started at Leonato's house. Leonato and his daughter and his brother and his brother's son and a niece of theirs all live at this house. So his daughter's name is Hero and his niece's name is Beatrice. Now, these two are actually really important. The male cousin isn't really important. He's just sort of like an off-to-the-side character who's barely anything. So, you know, most of them cut him. I think he can sing, so if you want to include songs in it. I told them no songs. I don't like songs. Okay, I do like songs, but not those songs because, like, it just slows up the action too much. I do like songs. There's some really fine requiems. And the funeral march of Queen Mary. Is it Queen Mary or Queen Anne? I don't know. It's Purcell anyway. I think it's Queen Mary. That's good. And I do like opera, but I don't like silly little songs. I don't like silly little songs. It has to be big for me. Big, grand. Anyway. So, this is the scene, is Leonato's house. And the gentlemen are coming back from the wars. News comes that the prince and his officers are coming to stay at your house. They've come back from the wars. No one has died. And everybody is very happy to hear this. Well, people have died, but they're not people of name, so they don't count. But everybody is very happy to hear this, especially Hero, who is quite eager to hear that the prince has well-favoured Signor Claudio. And Beatrice asks whether Signor Mantanto has returned from the war, which the poor person who sent the message has no idea what she's talking about until her cousin Hero says she means Signor Benedict. And oh yes, he has come and he is a great friend of Claudio. Signor Benedict, or Benedict from here on in, and Beatrice have a squabbly sort of relationship. They're always played by the best actors in the cast, and really they're the ones that you watch this whole thing for, because the leathers are quite dull. In fact, they're worse than dull, but I'll get into that in a minute. But Beatrice and Benedict are one of the pairs of lovers in this comedy. And they are quite squabbly and quite fun. They're a bit like a screwball comedy before screwball comedies happened. So like screwball comedies are based off these. So that's the sort of energy that these two have. And when the men come, they are all, welcome, dear, and yes, stay at our house, and this is wonderful. And the prince has brought with him his brother, who's, I think he's the bastard brother. And that can never be good, because we all remember Lear. Yes, we all remember Lear. And how icky that ended up. Thank God for that unicorn in the third act. Anyway, he's brought his brother Don John, who he has been recently reconciled with. And so these people are all welcome. Beatrice and Benedict start up their squabbling again, because they're great fun and a lot of wordplay. And they all go in. Claudio stays out with Benedict, and asks him, had he noticed Hero? And it's like, what, Leonato's short daughter? Not really. He'd been spending a lot more time noticing Beatrice. And so, why are you interested in her? And Benedict has spent a lot of time railing against the idea of marriage. Just, no, he doesn't like the idea of getting married. He doesn't like the idea. And Claudio is thinking, well, I might actually like to get married. And when the prince hears of this, he encourages Claudio, which rather disgusts Benedict, but he encourages Claudio and promises to help him to get the love of Hero. Now, the next thing we see is Don John. Don John and his servant, Braccio, are talking, and Don John is determined, even though he's only just got back into his brother's good graces, he is a villain. He has absolutely no reason to be a villain, but he just is a villain. And he's a sort of a bit of a tuppenny halfpenny villain. He's not even a really good villain. I mean he's not Iago. We'll get to Iago. We haven't got to Othello yet, but we'll get there. And so he says, I'm going to mess things up for people. I'm going to mess things up in any way I possibly could. And so at the masquerade ball, where everyone is having fun, and Beatrice and Benedict are teasing each other, pretending not to, or Beatrice is teasing Benedict, pretending not to recognize him in his mask, and telling him all sorts of things about himself that are very unflattering, and he's rather hurt by this, which is the thing about them. They really like each other, but they just have this very antagonistic relationship. Now, at the masquerade ball, the prince has promised, because everybody is masked, to woo Hero for Claudio. Now, Claudio is an insecure clot. The fact that he's asked another man to woo for him, that's your first red flag. There are going to be a lot of these. It's all a little bit, it starts to look very bad. I'm just going to warn you. So he is sitting there watching this courting happening, when Don John tells him, not revealing who he is, that the prince actually intends to woo Hero for himself. And Claudio is very, very upset by this and gets, he believes it. That's our second red flag. He believes it and gets all huffy and is about to leave when the prince brings Hero and says, look, or actually Beatrice brings him back for the prince to say, look, I have wooed Hero and won her consent for you. So they're going to get married in a week, but he can't even talk to her. And what is the use of a husband who can't even talk to his betrothed? I mean, Romeo didn't have that problem. Romeo had many, many, many problems. Many problems. But talking to her was not part of it. I mean, they were like drunk teenagers, but we've been there. You know, I mean, what kind of a weird little neckbeardy incel is this guy? 3. We're up to 3 red flags already, and we're only in the first act. Not good. So they're going to get married in a week. And what will they do to entertain themselves for this week? They have decided that Beatrice and Benedict are actually really in love with each other and that they are going to bring this about. Bring about their matching up, because obviously they are very much in love and they just need someone to help see that. And so in the garden, they arrange, Benedict is in the garden and he's rather, you know, being Benedict, being himself and complaining that you just can't find a good bachelor. Everybody's getting married these days. And so he happens to be in the garden when the others come in, Leonato and the prince and Claudio and Balthazar, but I told them to cut Balthazar because I didn't want any stupid singing, even though Benedict does have a good line about that, but it does rather sum up my belief about the Milwaukee family player's ability to sing. Ugh, if my dog had howled thus, I would have hung it. My doggy has 3 heads. So think about how awful that sound is. If my dog had howled thus, I would have hanged it, which is quite a job to do when you have 3 heads. So anyway, we cut that bit. And Benedict overhears these 3 men talking about how much Beatrice loves him. And they leave him alone, knowing entirely that he has been eavesdropping. This entire thing, this entire play is all about eavesdroppings. I mean, that's part of the reason I come down here. I like it down here. You know what it's like up there? Up there is nothing but eavesdropping and gossiping and crap. And you know who leads the way? You know who leads the charge in all of this? My Auntie Hera. My bitchy Auntie Hera. Yes. Oh, she honestly, she could make the NKVD. They could learn lessons from her. The SS could learn lessons from my Auntie Hera in terms of eavesdropping and surveillance. Oh, she's awful. Absolutely awful. I don't know how Father Uncle Zeus puts up with her. I really don't, because there's constant droppings of eaves. Constant. And it's not just her. Like, I mean, there's all factions. This play, honestly, is a little bit triggering for me because I don't like all of that. You know, and I wasn't even immune. When my husband and I eloped, some little nobody busybody had a blah, 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 blah. And my mother got all thing. We were hoping to just get away. And then, you know, let her know afterwards. But no. And then she had to put on the mother of all strops. Ugh, stupid eavesdropping little things. Can't keep a secret in that place. Cannot keep a secret. Anyway, that's by the by. So Benedict thinks now that Beatrice is in love with him, and they send Beatrice to go and get him to come to lunch. And she is her usual Beatty self, and she's a bit confused because he's not behaving quite like he usually does. He's behaving oddly. And so this is like, okay, well, I don't know quite what's going on. This is some new trick of yours. I have to work out the rules to this little game. But anyway, and then she, as she's coming back, encounters Hero and one of her lady's maids, who are talking about how much Signor Benedict loves her. And so thinking, oh, well, maybe I was a bit harsh on him. Maybe he isn't quite as bad as I thought. Yes, maybe in fact he's actually kind of good. But we'll see. Now, Don John hasn't given up. Don John, having found that his latest trick to his last trick to try and break up this marriage didn't work, has now arranged for his servant Baraccio to stand on the night before the wedding, to stand at the window of Hero while Hero's maid, Margaret, who he's having an affair with, looks out of her window, because they're both dark-haired ladies, and in the dark is very hard to tell exactly who is who. And Don John brings the Prince and Claudio to hear Baraccio making love, or wooing, Margaret in Hero's name. Now, as far as anything can tell, all they have done, all that can legitimately be laid upon her, is that she talked with a man at night. Like, that's diddly squat. Talk to the man. That's not, we're not talking like, was caught making the beast with two backs. Like, seriously, we are not talking of anything actual. We are talking suspicions and nothings. But the Prince and Claudio see this, and they're like, "Oh, so she's a whore and a slut and absolutely." And Don John says, "Okay, well, if you make an accusation, I will back you up." And so they go off. Meanwhile, Dogsby, the constable, is setting the watch. And the watch are not really good, and he's not a really good constable. He's actually a decent constable, but he's a very comic character. He's full of malapropisms. He's always saying the wrong word. He's trying to use a vocabulary that's a little bit big for him, and he's always picking the wrong word. We've all heard those people, haven't we? Yes, we've all heard those people, especially on the news. You always hear them on the news as they're describing something, and it's like, use your simple, ordinary words. No, I'm going to grasp a big word and then use it in the wrong way and look stupid on national television. Yeah, it's funny. So that, mind you, his believing in Don John's trick, that's 4 red flags. 4. These are a lot of red flags here. This is very worrying. So we're up to 4 red flags. Dogsby has set the watch. The watch are sitting there going, "Oh, this is tiring. Sitting up all night, waiting. And as they're waiting, in comes Baraccio and another gentleman called Conrad, who are talking about, Conrad is is rather amazed that Borachio has been able to make a whole load of money just for talking at at a girl out her window. And he is explaining the villainy of Don John to Conrad and exactly how easy it is to make money if you have no scruples, when the watch jump out and arrest them. So you would think that this would all go really easily and smoothly, but no. No. So Dogsby is very pleased about this. And the next morning, having arrested them, he goes to Leonato and he says, I have these men who have committed villainy against you, and I need you to examine them. And Leonato was like, no, I've got a wedding this morning. I'm too busy. You do it yourself. Dogsby takes his prisoners off to the sexton and to examine himself. At the wedding, everything is all going nicely, all nice and lovely, until we get to the, do you know of any reason why you shouldn't be married? This is when it all goes to pot. Because Claudio goes and 5 red flags now. 5. Just while we're keeping count. Claudio goes and pulls this huge bros before hoes type of thing and accuses Hero of sleeping with like half the county. Red flag. Gigantic red flag. Gigantic. He accuses her of all of this. So bad. And so does the prince, and so does Don John, and nearly all the men just storm out of the church, all doing a very big bros before hoes type of thing. And it's like, and Hero faints, and Benedict is like, what the hell is happening? Because clearly Benedict is an old family friend. He clearly has a much longer connection with the family, but he also he wasn't witness to this chaos that supposedly happened. And so he's like, what on earth is happening? And he's willing to defend Hero. He's also, Beatrice is defending Hero. So, like, I mean, if he wants to stay in good with his girl, even if they're not quite certain what they are, he's not going to screw this up by bros before hoeing. No. And even Leonato is like, believes this. And accuses his daughter of this as she's just come revived from her faint. I mean, the poor girl is utterly, utterly shocked. This is like, where did this come out of? So, like, bad. And finally, the vicar tells them, the friar tells them that, okay, we are going to pretend, because they stormed off, we're going to put about that Hero has died, and while we settle this whole thing and try to sort out what on earth has happened, because this something is very, very wrong. So they all go, except for Beatrice and Benedict. They stay in the church. Hero is going to be hidden in the house, and everyone is going to pretend that she's dead to work out while they sort out what is going on, because really she's just been like slut shamed publicly so hugely. I mean, we're up to 5 red flags and we're not finished the play yet. Actually, he slut shames her and then he leaves her for dead. We're up to 6 red flags. 6 red flags. 6 red flags. So, yeah, no good. Beatrice is in the church. She's crying, and Benedict goes to comfort her, and they reveal their mutual love, which is very sweet. But Beatrice then in her, with being very distressed, is like, right, I would kill this guy. I want to kill him. I want to kill him. I want to kill him. I want to eat his heart in the marketplace. I mean, yeah. It's like, if they think bros before hoes, sisters before misters too. They're pretty vicious. You mess with someone's Oh, noon. Okay, my sister cousins, not so much. But these two, very tight, very close, really good sisterly bond there between these two cousins. And Benedict says, okay, he's a bit more reluctant, but eventually he's like, okay, I will challenge him to a duel. It means that much to you. You mean that much to me. I will challenge him to a duel. So really, Benedict and Beatrice are really quite like Petruchio and Catherine by the end of the play. They're like, I got your back. I got your back. Don't worry about it. I got your back, babe. So, I mean, they're healthy. Okay, wanting to kill someone like that is not exactly healthy, but the relationship, oh yeah, that's like in their relationship goals. Not Mr. Six Red Flags and counting. 6 red flags. Anyway, the constable then sets about examining Borachio with the sexton, and he's completely useless at this. He is so bad, and people can barely understand what he is saying, and he doesn't know how to do it. But in spite of all his complete stupidity and confusion and malapropisms, it does all come out that they have deliberately slandered Hero, and the sexton tells that this is exactly what happened and that Hero died. And so all bets are off with Dogsby, the constable. Oh, he is very, very upset with this. He is very angry. And the sexton goes off to tell Leonato what has actually happened and to tell him the truth of this. And then and Dogsby, continues on his little interrogation, which starts to get quite farcical, and Conrad calls him an ass. And he's very incensed that it not be written down, but he has everybody remember, I am an ass. You are an ass. You're an even bigger ass than Bottom. But, he's very funny. He's a very funny part. So, anyway, Leonato and his brother confront the prince and Claudio and say that you have killed my child, and it isn't, and I would, if I were a younger man, I would thrash you. And so too does his brother. These are two old men who are threatening them. And Claudio and the prince sort of, well, we're very sorry she died, but she was a slut. 7 red flags. 7. So they leave. Leonato and his brother do leave. The prince and Claudio are feeling kind of like, I think we probably better go. I don't think we're going to be very welcome here much longer. But I wonder where Benedict is. We should really bring him along with us, because, yeah. And then they meet Benedict, and Benedict says, you've gone and killed a really lovely girl by being a-holes, and I am challenging you to a duel. And Claudio is like, ooh, crap, I'm in trouble now, because he's going to kill me. He's better than I am. He's older. He's better. Ah, crap. So he's not feeling too good about this. Meanwhile, which is good. Is good. He's already got 7 whopping great big red flags. He shouldn't be feeling too good about himself right now. So suddenly here's all these righteousnesses like, ugh, not looking so hot. Dogsby comes in and he brings his prisoners and expounds the whole mess of the scandal, which, and then manages to outstay his welcome and insult everybody thinking he's complimenting people very highly. But, you know, but that's his last scene, and then we don't see him again. Leonato tells Claudio that that to atone for what he has done, he is to put an epitaph on his daughter's grave, and that he can then marry his brother's daughter, who is just like Hero, who happens to be heir to both of them, just as Hero was. Now, 8 red flags, because he goes for this. Oh no, I don't feel that terrible. I'll take the other girl and the cash. 8 red flags. 8. Whopping great big ones too. Not like little ones. Not little ones. Not like, you know, you dismissed how I felt sometime and I didn't like that over a minor thing. Or you ate the cookie I wanted. No, really great big red flags. So the next day, having sorted everything out and being prepared for the wedding the next day, after Claudio has been forced to atone, which is a pretty low atonement. Oh, heaven help him if he came down here. We know how to make people atone. Yeah. He'd be a bit stuffed with us. But then again, I'm seeing the red flags. So the next day, Benedict is complaining that he's really no good at writing love poetry, and he's tried, and he speaks to Beatrice, and so they don't know yet what's happened, but he speaks to Beatrice and tells her that his challenge has been accepted, and so they do some more romantic sparring when a message comes in saying everything's been cleared up and Don John has fled and we're going to have another wedding. So, yay, another wedding. At the new wedding, Claudio marries this girl who these women come in veiled, and he chooses he is to marry one of them, but he's not to see her until he promises to marry her. And so he promises to marry her sight unseen. And then she pulls off her veil, and oh look, it's Hero, who was dead. I was like, Lovey, you can do better. You can do better. 8 whopping great red flags. Self-respect. Do better. There are plenty more fish in the sea. This one is a throwback one. This one is like really poisonous and disgusting. My Uncle Poseidon, he got lots of fishies in his sea. Some of them are really disgusting. I think what you found was a pufferfish or a stonefish. You chuck it back. None of that is good. This, you do not want a mouth-breathing, neck-beard incel for a husband. Send him back to his mother's basement. You know, like my brother cousin Hippothesis. Married him off to Aphrodite. She went and slept with his brother Ares instead, because apparently a really loud, bellowing brute is... he's a brute. He's a brute as Ares, but he's got the bod. And I don't think he's actually nearly as objectionable as Hephaestus. is much more fun than a neck-bearded mummy's boy who spends all his time in a cave with his robots, who also took forever to fix my furnace last winter, and his Cyclops. Cyclops. So anyway, the poor girl is stuck with this neck-beardy incel. And then Beatrice and Benedict has asked the vicar, is it possible you could maybe do a second wedding? Even though I haven't actually asked her yet. But I think we might need one, because I really think I actually have to marry her because I'm in love with her. He doesn't like really admitting this out loud because he's kind of embarrassed. He spent a lot of time pretending that he didn't care for this and that he would never be married. It turns out that, yeah, with the right person. And so Beatrice and Benedict finally admit publicly, although they'd admitted it privately, that they do love each other and they will get married. And so everything ends happily ever after. Okay, I don't think this is entirely happily ever after, because if you are stuck with a neckbeardy incel husband, that's not a happily ever after. Beatrice and Benedict is definitely happily ever after, but not the other half. So it's like, 8 whopping great red flags. Really, 8 whopping great red flags is not a good thing. So that's just my 2 cents worth. So hopefully I won't be anywhere near so long before I bring you my next video. And I hope you all enjoyed this one. It being one of the odder stories. Really, nothing happened. It's like status quo. Well, not quite status quo, because Beatrice and Benedict ate together at the end. But a lot of the middle bit was kind of over nothing. Hearsay, gossip. Like I said, too much gossip up there. That's why I stay down here. It's calm. No drama. That's what happens when you have a very introverted husband. No drama. All those extroverts. Drama, drama, drama. Anyway, I will see you later with another play. So, until we meet again, bye-bye.
If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cockie Press website www.blackcockiepress.com.au, where you will find books and other materials to help with your writing.